Football Then and Now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us.
This is episode 55 of Football Then and Out, a nostalgic look at football, but also we look at modern football, modern news, history, you name it. We do everything on this show. And in the wings, he is back for episode 55. He's literally done 54 with me yesterday. It's Tom Perrett, and we're going to look ahead to the games concerning the teams that are trying to get into the top 5 in the Premier League. How are you, Tom? Good to have you back on.
I'm good, thank you. You? Thanks for having me back on.
All good, mate. Now, we're going to look at Newcastle-Chelsea, which occurs on Sunday. So we're not doing it in order. I've brought the games in, looking at which ones are going to be the tough ones, of course. These two are going hammer and tongs to get top 5. We spoke about Chelsea getting through over 2 legs in the Europa Conference League, and they're going to play Betis. But how do you feel it will go between Newcastle and Chelsea? It's going to be tough because Newcastle have been playing really, really well. Chelsea obviously rested people last night. How do you feel that game's going to go on Sunday?
It's at Newcastle, isn't it? So
yeah,
I think
they're up at St. James's.
I'd say, well, Chelsea. I think the rest. I saw the highlights of the game last night, so I didn't see the full lineup. But I think the rest of the few players in it. There's a lot of younger players. I'm going to go for a draw, 1-1.
Draw 1-1, and then looking at the table, of course, at the moment they're 4th and 5th. They're both on 63 points as well, and they've got the same goal difference. I wonder, you know, if one of them dropped out, say, or was just about in it, would it go on a head-to-head? That would be interesting to see. But yeah, it's going to be tough. I think St. James's Park's been a tough place for teams to go all season. Eddie Howe's obviously over the pneumonia. Jason Tyndall did a fantastic job while Eddie Howe, was in hospital with that. I've got Newcastle edging it. I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle in that one, mate. I just feel I've got Newcastle going on there. So we're both on a draw. Sorry, no, you're on a draw. I'm on a win. Sorry, I
can see that happening, though. Whoever wins, it'll be very close anyway. Yeah.
And we've got on Saturday as well. I just want to have a quick look at Saturday. We've got Bournemouth versus Villa. Villa, who are trying to get back in there. Of course, they've had a couple of iffy results along the way. They are 7th at the moment on 60 points. Bournemouth just behind them, probably looking at a Europa League place, Bournemouth, as things stand. Again, tricky place to go, the Vitality, small was the stadium, one of the smaller stadiums. They're looking to obviously expand and get bigger and things like that. But a tricky game for Villa, I think. What do you think?
I think Bournemouth will win. I think it'll be 2-1. I think they'll just edge that, yeah. I think Villa, with being in Champions League, they've really stretched the squad. They've had an excellent season, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think it's showing now. And yeah, I think Bournemouth will edge it being at home.
Big win for Bournemouth last week, of course, away at Arsenal. Huge result. If you look at it, Arsenal need to be careful because City are in form, of course. City are only 3 points behind Arsenal now. So, it's just going to be massive. But yeah, Villa beat Fulham last time out 1-0 as well. So they've had a win as well. It's going to be tough, this one. It's going to be tricky. Even Ilson's been looking very good. His red card was overturned as well. Of course, he's come back in and scored goals. Yeah. Justin Kluivert, it's been fantastic. We've spoken about Justin Kluivert at length on this show over the last 12 months or so. But I'm going to go Villa. I'm going to go Villa, but I'm going to go 3-1 Villa at the Vitality. That's a very good one. And I might get shot down by Bournemouth fans because, again, as you say, the Vitality's been a tricky place to go. But as you said there, Villa, they've tried to balance Champions League. They did so well, getting to the quarterfinals, of course. But Emery's done a fantastic job there, hasn't he?
Oh, brilliant. I'm sure Anthony's happy with everything we've just said as well, don't he? But yeah, he has, and they're living the dream, really, aren't they? Let's be honest, from where they was before.
Absolutely. Now, moving on as well, we've got Forest Leicester at 2:15 on Sky Sports, Premier League, of course. Forest have been they've dropped off. They have dropped off in more recent weeks. The chasing pack have caught them up. They were third. They were third at one time. I think they were second as well early on, if I remember rightly. They're now 6th. of course. Leicester, just so iffy, Leicester, but they beat Southampton 2-0 last time out. Again, Southampton are the whipping boys, aren't they? Only 11 points, which is the Premier League record for the lowest points total. I don't think Southampton want to be associated with Derby as the lowest points total, of course. But yeah, Forest and Leicester, again, I just think it's only going to go one way. This isn't at the City Ground, and Forest need a win, don't they, to keep up with the chasing pack for top 5.
I think it'll be a much needed win from it's a bit of a derby that game in it as well. So that's it, 3-0 Forest. I think Forest again have done absolutely. I mean, they're 6th now, but beginning of the season under the take and that. But do you remember when they beat Liverpool at Anfield all the way back in, was it September, October?
Yeah, it was September. Yeah,
and people like, what the hell? I was, and I thought, where's that come from? Then you look over the course of the season, it wasn't a fluke, was it? It was just, they've been really good and they play really good football. The counter-attack's second to none. But I think it's just push come shove now, and who's got the biggest squads and that, and it's maybe just hits them at this time. But tell you what, if they're 5th or 6th this year, though, I mean, 5th would be brilliant to get them in Champions League again, because they've won it before, haven't they? I mean, in 70s and 80s, they were a huge club.
Massive, absolutely massive. Again, the fans are going to want that Champions League, don't get me wrong, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if they get Europa. But obviously, I know Champions League's so lucrative. That's where the big money is made. Again, this is the area where, it's not settled. We know Liverpool have won the league. They won ahead of time. The bottom 3, all 3 of them are down. So it really is this chase for Champions League and the top 5, isn't it? This is, what everyone's going to be keeping an eye on. And, big games, absolutely huge games for him, and a lot of football to be played. 3 games left. There's a lot of points to play for here, isn't there?
Oh, massively. I think sometimes football goes in that, I said circles and that, but I think Forest, it would be brilliant to see him in Champions League if it's just one more time ever. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because the teams that have always done it always come back somehow. So I think even if it's just one season, I'd love to see them finish 5th or 4th,
It's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. Again, teams below as well. We've made reference to this throughout the year. Absolutely fantastic. Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton, and you can put Fulham in there because they're not far behind. From 11th, 10th, 9th, and 8th, all them clubs have done amazingly well too. You could say Bournemouth have exceeded expectations. It was a tricky start for Iraola, but they've had a fantastic. They've had a fantastic season, haven't they? They've been absolutely brilliant. When you look at the games that they played, no pressure, but they play as a team.
It's the Premier League, mate, is absolutely fantastic, isn't it? When you look at every game, anyone can beat anyone, can't do it? It is fantastic.
What do you think about Johan Visser and Mbrumo for Brentford? They are so consistent. We've spoken again, about them over the course. There was talk of Visser in the rumour mill in January that he was going to go. Could you see those 2 players going, or do you think Thomas Frank can keep them? Because I think a lot of those players there want to play for Thomas Frank, and you become, a small fish in a big pond sometimes, don't you? If they were to go to like an Arsenal or one of the top 4, it doesn't necessarily work out, does it? Where you're kingpin at one club, and then you go somewhere and you get lost in the shuffle and you don't play every week. What do you think about them 2 from Brentford?
I'd say at Brentford for another season or 2. Definitely one more season and just try and establish it more. Because like you said, there's a lot of go elsewhere and it doesn't always work out to fruition. I think London does have an advantage for some of the players that's come from abroad as well, because they're still living wherever out there in that area. They've got everything they need. I think they've got that as an advantage. And Brentford are an established team now, aren't they? I mean, I know they used to be like lower leagues, didn't they, years ago, but they're a hard team to play against. And I'd extended the stadium a bit as well. They're doing some work on it, aren't they? So yeah,
they want to. I think they're on about expanding it. I know they did the training ground because obviously the American owner earlier on in the season, Sky Sports News went to the new training ground, so they've got this state-of-the-art training ground now. So yeah, the next feasible thing is get that ground. Again, they need to gauge how many fans are going to get in. Do you know what I mean? They'd probably have to leave it, I don't know, around the 20,000 mark, maybe. You don't want to go too big, do you?
No, but it's a good place to go as well. I mean, it's like right near Hammersmith and that. So yeah, I think, I'd say if I would have, I'd say another season or 2. But You know, like temptation does grab people, doesn't it? But like if they stay next year and they get 20 odd goals and Arsenal comes knocking at the door or somebody needs a striker, they'll probably move on then. But
What
Thomas
about
Frank's got something going on, hasn't he? Definitely.
what about Alexander Isak as well? You know, you're getting quoted. They're quoting that it's going to be over 100 million to sign him. Liverpool are obviously looking at him. I think Nunes would have to be sold. What do you think about Alexander Isak? Do you think he would stay at Newcastle, or is he going to, go to the likes of a Liverpool or an Arsenal?
Similar answer to the last one. I think he might hold on one more year. If they get Champions League, especially, I mean, they'll get Europa definitely, but I mean, they could get Champions League. I think that'd keep him. But it depends on his ambition. Like you say with Liverpool, they would have to sell to bring him in. It's a bit different to how Liverpool play football, isn't it? You know what I mean? They hadn't really had a natural striker there for a while, and what their effect actually does work, with the loose players. But, Leicester wanting to change it up. But I don't think Liverpool need drastic changes, do they? I mean, they've just won league. So if I was him, I'd stay there. But you never know if somebody comes knocking on the door like Barcelona or something like that, or abroad. You never know, he might want to go. But I think Newcastle are going places, aren't they?
He's been less injury prone this season.
Yeah.
But again, he does have that where he can get injured. Last season, especially, he was out for sustained periods of time. I don't think that would put a red mark against him or anything like that. I think they have sorted him out a bit more. The fitness and what have you with him and the knocks that he's had. But I think it's a big outlay. My worry would be in the background if he gets injured too much again. You're spending all that money to bring him in.
That could be an issue, yeah. And to be fair, I think if he's in somewhere as a bigger squad, though, you can rotate him more. But Newcastle, if they're in Champions League next year, he's going to play every game virtually, Whereas if he was at Arsenal, Liverpool, you could maybe mix it about more. So yeah, it could be an issue. That you could be right.
In terms of players this season, I just want to come away from what we were saying about there. Who has stood out for you from another club this season, and it's just been over. He's been amazing. If there's been a player.
Again, like Isaac, what you just said. Try to think. Again, Abramo from Brentford. The ones you've pretty much all said are the ones I thought of. Really, do you know what I mean? Odegaard at Arsenal's always looked very good as well when I've seen him.
What about Salah as well? I think he's on like 60 goal.
Yeah, I thought Salah, but I didn't know it was too obvious. You know what I mean? I was trying to think
not at all.
Oh, right. I was trying to think of younger players that just come in for. Well, Salah definitely. I mean, because I thought it was over the hill. Well, maybe I hope so, not Liverpool, but no, he's been absolutely amazing.
Again, he's 32. But it was like he's going to go.
I think he's older. You know what I mean?
He's going to go to Saudi. Saudi's going to happen. There was all this going on, and I'd heard on the grapevine months and months ago he wanted a 3-year deal. He's obviously had a 2-year extension, hasn't he? Now, again, he's been absolutely amazing. To think it's like 60 goal involvements virtually from one player.
That's unbelievable.
It's crazy. It's crazy how good he's been. Slot, whatever Slot's saying to him, he's been resurgent, hasn't he?
It's like I tell you, who was impressed with as well. Alanga Forest as well. He's been really good.
He's been brilliant, and they got him from a snip from you, didn't they? Really,
they did, yeah. And he's not the most talented player, but he's just so fast and he just break you down. And there's Obi, isn't there? Is it Hudson Thingy for his striker? He was quite impressive. What I've seen. Hudson-Odoi, isn't it?
Yeah, Hudson-Odoi.
He's useful. And Kuna at Wolves, what I've seen the last 7 or 8 games, has been very an handful.
He was out for a bit, Cunha. He's come back in and he's been scoring. Okay, he didn't score last weekend, but previous to that, he's come in and he was banging goals again. Wolves had won 6 Premier League games on the spin before losing last weekend.
He's done a very good job with the new managers. Yeah.
Which meant they've overtook yourselves, United, Spurs, and Everton. Wolves, they were well off. They were 17th, weren't they? He had a decent start, Pereira, then it dropped off, but then 6 games, and they've only lost 1 in 7.
No, they've been very impressive, definitely, since he's come. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's been one of them years, isn't it, like that, you know what I mean? I looked at Wolves this year and I thought there's one of the teams that's going to get dragged into it. Then he's come in and they look like a settled team again.
It's just like he's getting the players playing that were already there. They'd sold a lot of players, hadn't they? The fans were very angry about it. The board were just selling. Nobody was coming in. But again, whatever Pereira's doing there, Ain't Nori, the fullback, I've always liked him. He seems to be thriving under him. Bellegarde at the back for Wolves as well. They've got some fantastic players, but yeah, it's been a great season. Again, just so bad at the bottom, the relegation. They couldn't put up a fight, could they? And they've all ended up going before the last game. Again, if I had to just press you about Arsenal, the big indelible mark at the moment is obviously the striker situation, which has been a thing for well over a year now. They need a striker, don't they, Arsenal? What do you think about Arteta? What are your thoughts about Arteta? They've been the nearly men, coming second in the league. They've been close to winning the league, and then it hasn't happened. Some fans, I've heard, want him gone. What do you think about Arteta at Arsenal?
I think it's excellent. When they came in, there was nowhere near a league, and then I think they were 9th under his first season. To say they finished second again, they've been second 3 times in a row. Yes, you're getting you'll go on social media, you've not won anything and that. But I'll tell you what, if Man United was second 3 years in a row, I'd have jumped at it. I think this year, if I was an Arsenal fan, there might be people who think I'm wrong, whatever, but I'd be very mad though, because I think the last 2 seasons they have pushed Man City with the best squad they've ever had to the brink. And if Man City didn't have a team or squad like that, they would have won that Premier League twice. But this year, where Man City's imploded, Arsenal have not capitalised at all. They've not been anywhere near this year, have they? That's what I think. I'd be disappointed that way. But more about getting a new manager, they need to be realistic. You know what I mean? I think, again, I'm not a supporter of Arsenal, but I think he's done a very good job. And to be second in the league as good as this, you've got to think about it.
And a Champions League semi-final as well.
There was outstanding. So unlucky against PSG. And, they could have won that tournament. Arsenal now are a lot better place than there was a few years back, definitely. But you look at Arsene Wenger all those years, they were 4th, and people were slating them. Man United supporters especially, the 4th cup. God, I take that every year now. And Wenger knew what he was doing. He didn't have the squad to compete to win the league or the budget. He just solidified it, didn't he? And now they had a manager who's gotten very close to getting over the line. What more did they actually really? Well, yeah, they want to win the league, but it will happen one season, I'm sure of it. But I didn't see Liverpool kicking on this year like they have. Do you know what I mean? With new manager, I thought Liverpool would be. I thought they'd be top 4.
Another,
you know what I mean? But
a lot of seasons you could do it with 80-odd points winning the league, but we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years, it's been 90+ points. Okay, Liverpool are trying to hit 90. Part of me thinks they might lose a couple now because they've won it. But again, I know Slot won't want that mentality. But I think for Arsenal, other years, they would have won it with 80-odd points. It just goes to show how strong City and Liverpool have been winning it.
Well, was that year, wasn't it? Probably 2019. I could be wrong. Where was it? 99 points City won it by, and Liverpool was 98. There's 2 seasons with Klopp. Really, they didn't walk that league. Well, Man City's depth. You've got to be honest. So yeah, you're right. I remember Man United once won the league in 1997. I think they won it by 67 points, 68, or I could be wrong, or low 70s, but those days are well and truly gone. I don't know.
It just goes to show how strong you've got to be to win it now. And I think it's not all the Arsenal fan base, but I have heard it over the course of the season. They need a striker. We all know that. We've said about it, that the fan base, they're going to go big for a striker in the summer. Havertz playing that 9. He got injured, didn't he? Marino, he's played Marino up there, the Spanish lad. He scored goals, but again, he's not an out-and-out striker, is he?
No.
Players have moved into there.
Saka's been injured a lot as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, they've had issues going on. Gabriel, he's out at the moment at the back. Him and Saliba, arguably the best centre-back tandem in the Premier League.
When you was on about players earlier, I did think Saliba as well.
Yeah, he's so good. Reading the game, so strong. And there was a slide. He slid in for one against PSG the other night, and it was just his timing, to block the ball. He reads the game so well, but they're good off corners as well. They're good for a goal, Saliba and Gabriel off the corners.
Well, beginning of the season, I remember, they're going to beat us 2-0, but it was very much playing that football where they was building on corners, weren't they? And they've sort of eased it out, haven't they? But they are very strong with it because he's a big bloke, isn't he? Is he 6'3" or something?
He's big, the big lads, yeah, absolutely. Although Kivior, the Polish lad, he's come in. He's actually done a relatively good job at the back. Some of the Arsenal fans are, he's not going to cut it with Gabriel out. But Kivior, look good in the quarterfinals of the Champions League for sure. And
yeah, this big games come in, isn't it? So
absolutely.
Yeah, he's done all right. I know.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think we're quite positive about Arsenal and sticking with Arteta there. Brilliant, brilliant getting the predictions for over the weekend for those 4 games, concerning top 5, of course. Tom, when are you next going to United before we go?
Sunday, but I think it'll be very much like a friendly match, to be honest. West Ham, with the situation. But yeah, I think there'll be a lot of youth players played, a lot of reserves. It's interesting to see them, though.
Definitely. The new stadium as well. That was talked about several weeks ago now. What are your thoughts and feelings on that before we leave the episode?
I'll be polite, but no, I don't want it. I mean, I don't know everyone was a season ticket holder, all 53,000 people, but everyone I speak to doesn't seem to want it. I mean, that poll they did at the beginning of the season, that survey, I love to see how many people said they didn't want it and they were going ahead with it. That's what kind of annoys me. It was always going to happen, despite our opinions. Old Trafford is old-fashioned, I know, and it's well documented with the raining and that, but I think you could polish it up and that and clean it up. What I'm hearing is it'll attract people over the world. Well, can I be honest here? I was talking to people of week from Venezuela at games. There's people all over the world come to Old Trafford anyway. I was in Bucharest in March, and there was a guy talking to me, and he said if that had happened in Romania, they would have gone against the government because they can't take away something that's so historic and powerful like that.
Again,
so no, I'm not for it, but it is what's happening.
A gentleman was on TalkSport a few weeks ago. He said we need to sort the bloody team out first and get that.
And finances, and
he's like, it's not feasible at the moment, and they can, the council and the government can pump money into it, and I get they want to be green and all that, and the way it was done, the way they've designed it, but yeah, and it's got to be eco-friendly and things like that. But yeah, you need to. It's on the pitch that matters, isn't it? He needs to get that sorted.
No, okay, do a new stadium in Manchester because with Salford Keys, you can see what's going on in the BBC's TV. It's really modernising it around there now, and they put Manchester as a second city. I don't know. Yeah, do a stadium there where you can do national concerts and stuff, but you just don't need to move for our football ground. That's my opinion of it.
Definitely.
I mean, everyone's got a different opinion on it, but I know Man United are a global club, and the design of it's supposed to be like that SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, isn't it? But I just find the American thing's different to ours anyway. So definitely. I think if it's not broken, don't fix it. And yeah, you've seen the rain on the videos and that, but that happens at other clubs. At Emirates, it happened every year. And even at Etihad, I remember Metallica doing a concert there and it absolutely flooded. And that was in the new Etihad Stadium. It wasn't broadcasted.
We had it before the builders finished at Bramley Moor. There was it went through the roof and it was cascading down. And so, yeah, I totally take what you're saying. It's just because it's United. It was made more out of it because it was United that it happened to. But as you say, it's happened. It's commonplace across loads of grounds in the UK.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's perfect. You could just do it up more, and something inside could do with modernising, but it's not a disaster, mate. And that area is getting regenerated all the time anyway. So, but it's what it is, mate. It's happening.
That's it. How about Bilbao for the final? What's happening? Are you going? Are you doing? What's happening?
I'd love to have gone, but I'm off to Madeira next week, so it's kind of clashed with it. Really, when I looked at Bilbao as the final last year, I should have just booked the hotels and flights. But for knowing people going or scrambling to go, there is no accommodation in Bilbao whatsoever. So if anyone's watching this and planning, there is nothing. I know people are saying in San Sebastian, that's a good hour away. I can't pronounce it as well, but halfway between is a town with beginning with a Z. You'd have to Google it, look it up. With a beach area. Some people are staying there, but yeah, I think it's going to be kind of chaos with 2 English teams going. Absolutely. The flights now from Manchester are very high, but from down the London way, Stansted and Gatwick, you can get some for like £200 or £300 still, I believe. But I still think it'd be a fantastic final there. The city's supposed to be great, isn't it? And the stadium is actually only 8 minutes from the airport. It is in the city centre because I was with somebody last night, went to the semi-final, and he said the setup's brilliant, but you need to be outside of the city. And obviously now with 2 English teams, you're all going to be travelling together, so you're going to, you know what I mean? It's different implications now.
So logistically, hotels and stuff like that, as Tom says, you're going to be out of town. You could possibly be in another city, another area. So yeah, just, I'm sure people have been planning since last night and booking things, but yeah, all the best for United in the final, of course. I think John Scott, who we've had on various times on this show, he wants to do like a final preview, so we might have to get you back on Prior to that, like we'll get you. I think we'll get you back on together. We've got to have a United and Spurs fan on for the final preview for sure.
Right, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on for episode 54 and 55, mate. Appreciate it.
Football then and now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us.